Fighting loneliness and social isolation. A little while ago, one of my friends who has a few decades on me didn't answer the phone. She didn't go to church, so I got a bit panicked. I contacted other friends and finally found someone who had spoken with her and knew what was going on in her life, and everything returned to normal. Unfortunately, not everyone has that in their life, the friends who look after you and notice when things are a bit off. Social isolation is about something that is done to you. People avoid you like the plague or the pandemic. Maybe they do it out of the need for the greater good, like with the pandemic, or they do it as punishment, as when someone gets banished, or the entire high school decides you aren't cool enough to hang out with them. Social isolation can make you angry, frustrated, lonely, and generally, I would say it's out of your control. Loneliness, which can be the result of social isolation, can also be caused by depression, feelings of inadequacy, or the inability to relate to other people. Loneliness is a reaction. Social isolation is a causation, which is all splitting hairs because they often work hand in hand and both cause death, or more specifically, early death. As we age, we are more prone to social isolation because we can be forgotten. We used to go to work, now we don't. We used to walk in the neighborhood, but now we are too afraid, too frail, too sick, or too sad. We used to hang out with friends, but they died, moved, or became too sick themselves. Families used to be nearby, but now families are often hundreds of miles away, or they aren't hundreds of miles away, but the kids' activities or their jobs can keep them away. Sometimes it's about frustration. A parent with hearing or sight loss requires more effort to relate to, so the kids quit trying, which causes the problem to worsen until suddenly the kids aren't around. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, social isolation increases the risk of an early death more than such causes as smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. It increases the risks of dementia and the probability of heart disease and stroke. Stigma, barriers to care, and discrimination increase the social isolation experienced by new immigrants and members of the LGBTQ communities even more. So, how do we fight this often very silent killer? It's truly a multi-pronged approach, but here are a few options. Make friends. Most people remember the Golden Girls. It was a program about a group of women that moved into a home together. It's not necessarily to actually move in with one or more people, although it can be beneficial on many fronts, but it is necessary to build up relationships with people you trust. It's helpful if they will insist on seeing you on a regular basis too. Having a regular get together means that if you don't see someone, you're reaching out to find out why. Friendship requires active participation. If you don't have someone like that in your life, go looking and don't stop until you do have that. A 2017 study in the journal Personal Relationships found that the presence of strong friendships is a stronger predictor of overall health and happiness than even family involvement and support. Join a group. There's a group for nearly everything because, again, people are social. Retired trucker? Yep. Military members, book clubs, people who speak foreign languages, people who want to speak foreign languages, people who support the 49ers in Seahawk territory. They all exist. If you don't feel comfortable looking things up on the internet, check with a local library. Get treated. See a doctor if you're depressed. Visit an audiologist if you aren't hearing well. Join a therapy group if you struggle with loss, a specific disease, or a mental health issue. There is literally nothing out there that doesn't have a group. If you need to find a group and don't know where to turn, contact your medical provider. Learn something new. A 2013 National Center for Biotechnology Information study found that even people with dementia were able to acquire meaningful skills and engage in worthwhile activities. You are never too old. With a greater number of schools providing online learning, you can learn nearly anything, nearly anywhere. Volunteer. With decades of life and experience, you are invaluable. Find some place that would be happy to take what you know and build on it. Nearly every organization, every business, and every nonprofit looks to volunteers as a resource they cannot duplicate. If you have an early love that you had to give up to pursue a career, here's your chance to return to it. I have a very good friend who works in law that cannot wait to retire so he can return to a radio station. If you have something like that, strike up a conversation and see where it takes you. Don't let life be something that just happens to you. Participate, elevate, celebrate.